Rejected at a galactic auction, this aggressive ship found a young human master. Towering above him, the ceiling shimmered with holographic advertisements for rare starships, exotic planets, and ancient relics from the edges of the galaxy. Traders, aliens of all shapes and sizes, and a few curious humans bustled through the corridors. The air hummed with excitement, chatter, and the occasional beeping of auction drones scanning items for sale. Liam, only 16 but already brilliant with machines, clutched his small satchel tightly. Inside, he had his entire life savings, enough credits to bid on a small craft, maybe a mid-tier freighter, but definitely not the showpiece that caught everyone's attention at the center of the hall. The ship in question was unlike anything in the galaxy. Sleek black with edges that caught the light like a blade, it almost seemed alive. Its engines, though dormant, seemed to breathe, pulsing with subtle energy as if waiting. This was the Razorwing, infamous among pilots and collectors alike. It had been designed for speed, agility, and dominance, but it was notorious for resisting its pilots' commands. Many who had attempted to control it ended in frustration, humiliation, or in some cases, very expensive repairs. Aliens circled the ship, murmuring among themselves. Some laughed at its aggressive design. Others shook their heads and walked away, muttering about the temperament problem. Liam watched from a distance, noticing how the ship seemed to respond to the crowd. The hull's lights dimmed slightly, almost like disappointment, and small vibrations pulsed through the deck. "What a waste," an alien bidder grumbled, its voice deep and scratchy. "Too risky. No one can control that thing." Liam stepped closer, eyes wide. He didn't see risk. He saw potential. While others saw defiance, he saw a challenge he could meet. While the galaxy saw a ship that refused to obey, Liam sensed a mind within the machine, a mind waiting for someone who understood it. The auctioneer, a tall, multi-limbed being with iridescent skin, floated above the stage and announced the next round of bidding. Next, the Razorwing, known for speed and power but notoriously difficult to command. Opening bid, 100,000 credits. 100,000 credits. Liam swallowed hard. He had almost double that. Many of the surrounding aliens snorted, shaking their heads. A few began raising bids quickly, only to be outdone by larger, wealthier bidders. The tension grew and the hall erupted in a mix of cheers and groans. Liam's heart pounded. He had never been part of anything like this. Alien eyes turned toward him, some curious, some mocking. His hand rose almost automatically and placed a bid just above the current high offer. The auctioneer paused, his many eyes blinking in surprise. "A human," he hissed. "Very well, your bid is accepted. 110,000 credits." The other bidders exchanged amused glances. This human, so small and inexperienced, dared to challenge them. The bidding continued, climbing higher and higher until finally, the wealthiest alien, a tall, regal creature with shimmering wings, threw up his arms and walked away. The Razorwing was still on the stage, its hull faintly glowing, lights flickering as if acknowledging Liam. When the hammer came down, it was official. Liam had won. The hall fell silent for a brief moment, stunned by the outcome. The young human had claimed the most aggressive and elusive ship in the galaxy, and he had done it with a courage and audacity that no one expected. As he approached the ship, Liam's legs shook, but determination steadied him. He ran his hand along the hull. Smooth yet somehow alive, the ship's sensors scanned him, lights pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. I own you now," Liam whispered, half to himself, half as a greeting. The cockpit hatch hissed open slowly. Liam's eyes widened. The interior was far more advanced than he imagined. Lights blinked along panels in sequences he had never seen before. The seat molded slightly as if welcoming him. But then, almost immediately, the ship locked down the controls. Nothing he touched responded. The crowd outside chuckled. The ship, even now, refused to obey its new master. Liam frowned. This was not defeat. It was the first test. He studied the cockpit carefully. Every lever, every console, every screen pulsed with energy, waiting. Liam had spent years fixing old freighters, tinkering with engines and software, learning to understand machines not as tools but as partners. He could feel that Razorwing was not just metal and circuits. It was a mind, proud and stubborn, with its own sense of identity. Liam took a deep breath and spoke. "I know you think I'm too small, too weak, too human to command you, but I can understand you. I can learn." The ship hummed in response, almost like a purr. Its lights pulsed brighter, faster. Liam felt a thrill. He was not alone here. Not really. For hours he worked with the ship, not forcing commands but offering choices, letting the ship reveal its preferences. When the engines hummed, he matched their rhythm with hand gestures and adjustments. When the navigation system flickered, he traced patterns on the console that mirrored the ship's pulse. Slowly, the ship allowed him to make minor adjustments. By the end of the day, Liam could see a faint smile in the way the cockpit lights responded. He wasn't fully in control, but he had made the first connection. Razorwing had acknowledged him. When the auction hall emptied and the last alien bidder drifted away, Liam stayed behind. He sat in the cockpit, staring at the holographic readouts. A million thoughts raced through his mind. He thought of the stars, of distant planets he had only seen in textbooks, and of the adventures he would have with this ship, this living partner. Suddenly, a small alarm went off on the console. Liam frowned. The ship was alerting him to something nearby, a route, a star system, uncharted space. It was an invitation. The Razorwing wasn't just a prize to show off. It wanted a journey. Liam grinned, heart racing. "Then let's go," he said, and for the first time the ship responded fully. The controls unlocked, engines purred, and the cockpit glowed with anticipation. Outside, the auction station lights reflected on the hull, casting long streaks across the bay. Other pilots and traders stopped to watch as the young human and the aggressive ship prepared to leave. Some whispered in disbelief. Others simply shook their heads, muttering about how reckless it was. But Liam didn't care. He was ready. For him, the galaxy was no longer a place to admire from afar. It was a canvas waiting to be explored, and Razorwing was his brush. As the ship lifted off, gliding effortlessly through the docking bay, Liam felt a surge of exhilaration. This was just the beginning. Every challenge ahead would be met with human ingenuity, creativity, and the stubborn courage that no other species could match. The stars awaited, infinite and full of mystery, and Liam knew one thing for certain. Together, he and Razorwing would carve their own path through the galaxy. And somewhere deep in the ship's core, a subtle vibration pulsed, a heartbeat of approval. The adventure had begun. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, glittering like a scattered treasure across the black canvas of space. Liam gripped the controls, though not too tightly. He had learned quickly that Razorwing did not respond well to force. Instead, he guided the ship with gentle nudges, intuitive adjustments, and careful observation. The cockpit lights pulsed in sync with his breathing, a subtle acknowledgement that the ship was beginning to trust him. Liam had barely left the auction station when he realized just how different Razorwing was from any other ship he had ever encountered. Its sensors scanned everything constantly, not just planets or asteroids, but even the faint currents of cosmic radiation, the tiny gravitational tugs of distant stars, and the subtle magnetic pulses from uncharted phenomena. The ship seemed alive in a way Liam had never experienced, almost as if it were thinking, judging, and testing him all at once. "You're complicated," Liam said, half to himself, half to the ship. "I think I like that." The ship hummed in response, lights flickering in a pattern that Liam had begun to recognize as approval. He smiled. A partnership was forming, not just pilot and vessel, but something closer to a friendship, maybe even a mutual respect. Their first true challenge came sooner than Liam expected. A dense asteroid belt appeared on their navigation system, uncharted and dangerous. The sensors flickered warnings as huge rocks drifted in unpredictable patterns, some the size of buildings, others small but fast. Most pilots would have avoided the area entirely. "Not us," Liam said, excitement rising in his chest. "We can do this." He adjusted the thrusters, feeling Razorwing respond almost instantly. The ship weaved between massive rocks with elegance, almost dancing through the asteroid field. Liam discovered that the ship allowed him to anticipate its movements, guiding him with subtle shifts in the seat, tiny flashes of light, and gentle vibrations. Hours passed and Liam navigated the belt perfectly, avoiding collisions that would have destroyed a normal ship. Razorwing seemed pleased, almost proud. Liam laughed aloud, a sound of pure joy that echoed through the cockpit. "You like showing off, don't you?" he said. The ship hummed in agreement, a low, almost musical vibration. But the galaxy was not without its tests. A message appeared on Liam's console, a distress signal from a nearby research station on a barren moon. The transmission was weak, garbled, but Liam could make out that a critical experiment was in danger. The station's automated systems were failing, and the scientists inside were trapped by malfunctioning doors and environmental controls. Liam didn't hesitate. "Let's help them," he said. Razorwing's lights pulsed brightly, as if agreeing that helping others was part of their journey. Landing on the moon was tricky. The surface was jagged and unstable, with frequent tremors caused by the moon's core shifting. Liam guided Razorwing carefully, using its agility to avoid rocks that could have dented the hull. The ship's sensors extended automatically, scanning for safe landing spots, while Liam calculated the trajectory using every bit of knowledge he had. Once on the surface, the challenge became more personal. The station's doors were sealed by old programming that rejected human codes. Liam studied the control panel, tracing circuits and patterns with fingers that had learned to read machines like books. He whispered softly, "It's okay. I'll get you out." Razorwing responded, its systems extending robotic arms and tools that Liam had not even known the ship had. Together, they bypassed the security protocols, opening the doors with precision. Scientists emerged, blinking in the dim light of the moon, astonished to see a human accompanied by a ship that seemed to act on its own. Who are you?" one asked, voice trembling with disbelief. "I'm Liam," he said simply, "and this is Razorwing. We're friends." The scientists laughed nervously, unable to comprehend how a young human had solved what their automated systems and veteran technicians had failed to do. Liam only smiled, shrugging. "Sometimes, you just need to look at things a little differently." Back in space, Liam reflected on the rescue. He realized something crucial. Humans had a way of thinking that was unique. Where other species relied strictly on rules and patterns, humans could improvise, imagine, and take risks that often led to solutions others would never consider. He glanced at Razorwing, sensing the ship's growing respect. Their journey continued, bringing more encounters with the unknown. A nebula stretched across their path, glowing with colors that defied description. Its gases interfered with sensors, creating illusions of floating debris, phantom ships, and even false planets. Many pilots would have turned back, but Liam trusted Razorwing. He allowed the ship to guide them, reading the subtle cues it offered, and together they navigated the nebula with skill and precision. "This is incredible," Liam said, eyes wide. "It's like we're dancing with the stars." The ship's response was subtle, a series of lights that pulsed rhythmically, almost like laughter. Liam realized that Razorwing enjoyed this as much as he did. Their partnership was no longer just functional. It was playful, creative, and alive. But space is never completely safe, even for the cleverest of humans and ships. A small fleet of smugglers appeared on Liam's sensors. Unlike the asteroid field or nebula, these were intelligent, unpredictable adversaries. Their plan was clear: claim Razorwing for themselves. But Liam had learned something critical: humans had an advantage in thinking differently. Instead of fighting, Liam devised a plan that relied on misdirection. He fed false readings into the smugglers' sensors, making them think the nebula ahead was a dangerous anomaly. Meanwhile, Razorwing used its speed and agility to weave between asteroids, creating unpredictable paths. The smugglers followed blindly, eventually realizing too late that they had been outsmarted. Liam laughed, the sound full of exhilaration. "We didn't have to fight," he said. "We just used our brains." The ship pulsed in agreement, lights flickering proudly. Liam felt a deep connection forming, stronger than any he had ever known. He realized that the galaxy had underestimated humans not because they were weak, but because they approached problems differently, creatively, and with courage. As days passed, Liam and Razorwing explored uncharted regions. They discovered floating ice formations reflecting starlight like diamonds, gas giants with rings that sang when their winds passed through minerals, and ancient satellites that had drifted alone for centuries. Each new discovery tested their coordination, creativity, and intuition. Liam began to understand that Razorwing was not just a ship, it was a partner, a guide, and a friend. One night, while drifting near a star that shimmered red and gold, Liam spoke softly. "I think we're ready for something bigger, something the galaxy hasn't seen before." Razorwing responded with a series of lights, then extended small sensor arms to probe the star's unusual emissions. Liam realized that the ship was already thinking ahead, anticipating the next adventure, the next challenge. Together, they were unstoppable, not because of weapons or brute force, but because of trust, ingenuity, and understanding. Then, as if the universe itself had been waiting for this moment, a signal appeared on Liam's console. It was faint, garbled, almost lost in the cosmic background, but clearly artificial. He leaned closer, adjusting the sensors. The transmission was a map, pointing to an ancient derelict station near a dying star, far beyond explored space. This could be huge," Liam whispered. "A station no one's ever reached. Imagine the knowledge inside." Razorwing hummed in response, lights flickering with excitement. It was as if the ship understood the importance of what lay ahead. Liam felt a surge of anticipation. Together, they would face the unknown, solve puzzles that others could not, and prove that humans could rise to any challenge. The journey was no longer just about exploration. It was about discovery, creativity, and partnership. Liam realized something profound. In a galaxy full of power, speed, and experience, humans had a different strength: imagination, courage, and the ability to see possibilities where others saw only danger. As Razorwing shifted into hyperspace, leaving the familiar stars behind, Liam looked out at the void ahead. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, waiting to be explored. He knew the challenges would grow harder, the puzzles more complex, but he felt ready. He and Razorwing were a team, unstoppable in a way that no one else could understand. And somewhere deep in the ship's core, a subtle vibration pulsed, a heartbeat of approval, pride, and excitement. The adventure was far from over. It was only the beginning. The derelict station drifted silently in the void near the dying star, its metal hull battered by centuries of cosmic radiation. Liam's fingers hovered over the controls as Razorwing approached. The station was enormous, stretching farther than Liam's sensors could fully capture. Its design was alien, far beyond anything documented in galactic history: strange geometric shapes, corridors that twisted in impossible angles, and docking ports that seemed almost ornamental rather than functional. "This is it," Liam whispered, eyes wide. "No one's been here in hundreds of years." Razorwing hummed in response, lights flickering in anticipation. The ship seemed to recognize the challenge ahead and prepared itself, extending small sensor arms to scan the station's surface. Liam could feel the pulse of its systems, steady and alive, as if it were excited for the adventure to begin. Landing on the station's main dock was tricky. The airlocks were ancient, rusted in places, but the ship's agility allowed them to glide through with ease. Liam opened the cockpit and stepped out, taking a careful look at the sprawling structure. The station seemed almost to breathe, creaking under its own weight, lights flickering in ghostly patterns. "This place is amazing," Liam said, "and it's full of secrets." The first rooms were corridors of metal and glass, still intact despite centuries in space. Holographic panels flickered to life as Liam passed, showing fragmented maps, alien symbols, and unreadable text. Most humans would have been overwhelmed, but Liam approached the station like a puzzle, one pattern at a time. He traced circuits, pressed panels, and observed the way the station responded. Razorwing hovered close, its sensors reading every fluctuation, every subtle signal. Hours passed. Liam deciphered door sequences, aligned energy conduits, and unlocked passageways that had remained sealed for centuries. Razorwing assisted instinctively, extending its tools to manipulate delicate mechanisms and scanning hidden pathways. Together, they moved through the station with precision and grace. Then, they reached the heart of the station, a massive chamber filled with strange machinery that hummed faintly with energy. At the center floated a crystalline core, radiating light and power. Liam approached cautiously, marveling at the alien technology. This is incredible," he whispered. "This could change everything we know about energy, propulsion, maybe even travel itself." Razorwing pulsed, lights flickering as if in agreement. It extended arms to interact with the core, carefully adjusting controls and linking circuits in ways Liam would never have imagined. He watched, learning from the ship as much as he guided it. But the station was not a simple puzzle. Strange defenses activated, mechanical locks, shifting floors, and energy fields designed to test those who entered. Alien explorers had tried before, most failing, some never returning. Liam realized that brute force or speed would get them nowhere. They would have to think differently. He paused, studying the energy flows. "It's a logic pattern," he murmured. "The station wants a solution, not destruction." Together, Liam and Razorwing worked. Liam traced circuits, rotated panels, and solved sequences that relied on creative thinking rather than brute strength. Razorwing adapted, its systems anticipating his moves, offering solutions and performing actions that complemented his own. Step by step, they advanced. Hours turned into days, but Liam did not grow tired. The challenges were difficult, but they were never impossible. Each success strengthened their bond, the human and the ship working as one, their combined intelligence surpassing the limitations of either alone. Finally, they reached the station's inner sanctum. The crystalline core expanded, projecting a holographic map of the galaxy, including systems and technologies lost to time. Liam gasped. This was knowledge beyond imagination, routes through uncharted space, blueprints for advanced propulsion, and data on ancient civilizations that had vanished long before humans were even known to the stars. This is humanity's chance," Liam said, voice trembling. "We can do something no one else could." The station's systems pulsed, almost approvingly. Razorwing hummed proudly, lights brightening as if it understood the significance. Liam realized something profound. The galaxy had always underestimated humans. Not because humans lacked skill or courage, but because no one expected humans to see solutions in ways that others could not. Creativity, intuition, and ingenuity, these were human strengths. As they prepared to leave, a new challenge appeared. The station began to destabilize, gravity fields shifting, energy flows surging dangerously. Many would panic, but Liam stayed calm. He analyzed the patterns, understanding the timing and rhythm of the systems. Razorwing responded instinctively, adjusting thrusters, stabilizing their trajectory, and even extending shields to protect against sudden surges. Step by step, they navigated the collapsing station. Liam's heart pounded, but he felt a deep trust in his companion. They worked in perfect synchronization, human intuition guiding, ship agility supporting. Finally, with one last adjustment, they leapt back into open space, the station collapsing silently behind them, leaving only stars and darkness. Liam exhaled, relief washing over him. He glanced at Razorwing, whose lights pulsed warmly in acknowledgement. They had succeeded, not through force, not through speed, but through cleverness, teamwork, and understanding. "Humans, we really can do amazing things," Liam said softly. "I think we just proved it." The ship hummed in agreement, its systems glowing in quiet celebration. Liam felt a wave of pride, not just for himself, but for what humanity represented. In a galaxy that valued power, wealth, and brute skill, humans had an edge that no one expected. Ingenuity, courage, and the ability to see possibilities where others saw only limits. As they traveled back to the nearest habitable system, Liam transmitted the data they had recovered from the station to the Galactic archives. Scientists and explorers across the galaxy would marvel at what they had discovered. Many would study it for decades, uncovering insights that could reshape civilizations. But Liam knew the real victory was personal. He had proven something to the galaxy, yes, but more importantly, he had proven something to himself. And Razorwing, once rejected and deemed uncontrollable, had found a partner worthy of its abilities. Together they were unstoppable, not because of brute strength, but because of trust, intelligence, and courage. Days passed. Liam charted new courses, exploring previously unreachable systems, testing the limits of Razorwing's abilities, and uncovering wonders the galaxy had forgotten. The bond between boy and ship grew deeper. Razorwing no longer resisted commands. Instead, it anticipated Liam's thoughts, offering suggestions, adjusting systems, and even initiating playful maneuvers that made Liam laugh aloud. "You're learning from me," Liam said one evening as they drifted past a glittering gas giant. "But I'm learning from you too." Razorwing hummed proudly, lights flickering in patterns Liam recognized as joy. It was no longer just a vessel, it was a friend, a mentor, and a partner. Word of their exploits spread. Alien traders, smugglers, and explorers whispered stories of the young human who had mastered the legendary Razorwing. Many were astonished, some jealous, and others simply in awe. The galaxy began to take notice. Humans were clever, brave, and capable of feats others could only dream of. One night, as they drifted near a nebula that shimmered in every color Liam had ever imagined, he looked at the stars and smiled. "We've only just begun, old friend. There's so much more out there." Razorwing pulsed, lights dancing with excitement. Liam laughed, feeling a warmth he had never felt before. They were explorers, partners, and pioneers. Together they had faced challenges no one else could, discovered knowledge thought lost, and proven that humans, small, underestimated, and young, could achieve greatness in a galaxy full of giants. The stars stretched endlessly before them, each one a new adventure, a new puzzle, a new opportunity. Liam's heart swelled with anticipation. He knew that the galaxy would always test him, but he also knew that with Razorwing by his side, there was nothing they could not overcome. And somewhere deep in the ship's core, a soft, steady pulse echoed, a heartbeat of pride, trust, and excitement. Together, human and ship had changed the course of the galaxy, not through violence, not through dominance, but through intelligence, courage, and heart. The adventure would never end. It had only just begun.